demonstrate carrying multiple colors when you're working stripes. Obviously, multiple colors means you're working stripes in more than just two colors. I'm going to show you the technique that I use for carrying those so you don't have to cut the yarn and reattach it every time with way fewer ends to weave in. Now, I do have another video, and I'll give you a link if you click the little eye in the upper right-hand corner, called Carrying Colors for Stripes. And in that video, I demonstrate on a flat piece, and I just demonstrate two colors. So this one is a bit different in that I'm going to show you a technique for working in the round and for carrying multiple colors. This video was a viewer suggestion. Thank you very much, and keep those suggestions coming in for both videos like this as well as slow motion videos, because I know you guys like videos broken down into slow motion so you can knit along with me. Anyway, I've got this little tube of stripe knitting here. Let's go ahead and take a look. Okay, so here we are. I have 3 colors going and 3 yarns attached because I'm using these colors pretty often. You know, if it was something where the colors were only coming up once in a blue moon, I might cut the yarn and weave it in, but I'm using them often enough that I want to carry it. So this looks pretty cool, but the real magic is happening back here. And I left my ends so you could see things look a little bit different where I attach the new colors, but pretty consistent as I'm carrying the colors up the inside of the work. And this is what I'm doing. You will have to make your own judgment as to how often you want to catch the yarn. That's what I'm doing here. That's what all these little loops of yarn are. They're catches so that the yarn doesn't have a big float on the back. And you want to keep the float especially small if you're working on a pair of gloves or something, because if you have big loops, it's going to be almost impossible to get fingers in those gloves without getting caught, right? But a little bit longer loop would be okay for a hat or something where it's not going to catch on anything. So I'm doing it every 3 rows, and mostly I'm doing it every 3 rows because I'm changing color every 3 rows. But you know, I'd be okay with going up to 5 rows in this gauge. 5 rows would be okay. You can catch it as often as you like or as little as you like. It's up to you. And what I'm going to do here is knit up to the last stitch in this color. And I'm going to catch both of the other colors that I'm not using. And in theory, I could, and to catch I mean to wrap around like this, right? In theory, I could just wrap the color I'm not using, but I want the yarn for the first stitch in the new color to be coming from this stitch, to be coming from over here, because that's going to give me the beautiful tension at the beginning of the round, right? If the yarn is pulling from below up to that first stitch, you might get a gap at the beginning of the round. So it's going to look more consistent if the yarn is coming from the right to that stitch. So that's why I want to do it this way. So before I knit that last stitch, I'm going to take the working yarn, the one I'm using for the last stitch, and wrap it around those 2 colors that I haven't been using to carry them up. And I'm going to knit that last stitch, and then I'll take a look at the inside. You see the loops are pretty big there. I can gently tug those to tighten them up. Of course, if you pull too tight, you're going to bunch up the work, but just tight enough so you can see that it's lying flat. And now I'm going to switch colors. Let me see, what color am I on now? Dark, medium, light, medium, dark. So I'll grab the dark color and knit that first stitch. I like to knit a few. Then take a look to see that everything looks all right. Yep, everything's caught and looks really good. And then I'll knit my 3 rounds of the dark color, and then the last stitch of that color, before I knit it, I'll wrap my dark color around the other 2 colors to catch the color I'm not going to use next and to catch the color that I am going to use next so that the yarn comes from this direction into that first stitch. Anyway, it gives you good tension and it keeps the work tidy on the inside. And this is entirely unblocked, so you can imagine how smooth it's going to look once it's blocked. And that's it. I hope that helps. Good luck.